boys and ladies, and welcome back to Alan Wake. I'm your host, Shayde Reynard. And last episode, we were coming back here to return the telescope, or return to the telescope and do all that again. But last time, her car, I think, was over here. Got a hunting rifle now. We're going to use for a while. It seems to be like really high powered, so. Okay, another one of these guys. A couple more of these guys. They walk really funny. It's interesting because, like I said before, they're like entities of the darkness. They're not like the Taken, which are clad in darkness. Okay. Oh, page. Thank you. We don't need any more flares, but I'm gonna keep the hunting rifle just for now. Like, I did like the carbine rifle, but I want to play around with this a little bit more. I think, yeah, looks like there's a page right here. 40 combat shotgun. Huh. Well, I have 29. I don't think I ever went down over here at all. So I might go over there, just so we can, like, see if we can find pages. But I feel like we're going to get ported back again. At least one more time. Before this is over. Which is kind of weird and interesting that, like, it has, like, this strange little time loop. Okay, yeah, let's head over to this observatory. I didn't come over here last time. What's this? That's just some ammo. Like, I don't want to... Yeah, it looks like there's a page over here. Saw it pop up on my mini-map. I see they're just like... They're scattered all over the place. I don't want to miss any. And when we last came over here, too, there was like... The darkness took over some stuff over here. We had to fight it, like this generator and this box. Okay. We got the page, and I don't think there was anything else for us to do out this way. Just gonna run down. Oh. Oh. Oh god, there's a lot more of them than I thought there were. Your hunting rifle is a little bit slower, but I do drop them in one shot, so... I don't think there's anything over here that I missed. No. Okay. The only thing I wish I could get right now is that combat shotgun. That sounds nice. Okay, let's just head back up to the observatory, and, oh, so every time I walk through one of those, checkpoints as well. Okay. Let's just head up to the observatory, shall we? Yeah, I like that he runs a lot faster in this one. Like, that is That was definitely one of my gripes in the first one.
It's you! How dare you! No, wait. It isn't you, is it? I suppose you'd better come in. I'll unlock the door.
Uh-huh. We've already been through this before.
I know what you're thinking. Evil twin, supernatural powers. But most of the time, I just like to keep things basic. I want you to understand that. Like this. Need to get your hands dirty? No batteries, no moving parts, just physics. That's technology you can depend on. It's a classic.
Huh?
Speaking of classics, you need to be careful with this one, though. If the victim suddenly twists, you might end up cutting yourself. It's not really a workhorse, but I'm a sucker for this style. Now this is more like it. You've got slip-resistant grip. Believe me, you really want that traction once you're wrist deep in somebody.
Let's do this a
The
second.
blade's stiff enough so it won't open by accident in your pocket, but it's still really easy to open with just one hand. Now that's a big thing for me. I know what you're thinking. It's too big, too heavy. But sometimes you just need the extra oomph. If you're talking intimidation, this is gonna do the job. Also great for dismemberings and whatnot. You know, the messy jobs. I can't tell you how many things I've MacGyvered with this stuff. Okay, now, guns. Not a big fan. I mean, how are you supposed to really connect with somebody with a bullet? I want you to understand that. I take pride in what I do. We can't both be worthless hacks, can we?
Yep, he's a crazy psycho serial killer, sure.
You'll have to forgive me, but this feels very strange. It seems like this has all happened before.
I have the replacement part for your telescope, Doctor.
All right. Let's get it installed.
Alright then. Get him. Pop that bad boy in there.
Although I have this strange feeling that
Don't
something will go
start it
wrong.
up yet. There's a problem with the coolant system.
Yes, that's right. I remember. All right, let me think. If they're sabotaging
Pick this
us,
up.
they'll be at the primary coolant pipe outside. If you can secure it, we should be ready to pick up the signal. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes,
Yep.
it is. I'll take care of it.
Before you go, if you have the time, I'd appreciate if you came up here and explained a few things. All of this is very strange to me.
I'm sure we'll go and talk to her. Yeah, time loops are weird, especially if you retain any memory of the time loop. Like a lot of times with games or anything that has like a time loop, only the person that got thrown back through the time loop will have memory of the time loop itself, not everybody else involved.
Hello.
I don't quite know what's going on, but I seem to remember having had this encounter before.
It's not deja vu, Doctor. This has happened before. We're caught in a time loop.
That's utterly insane. How could that be?
I can't really explain it. I suppose I could call it magic.
I don't believe in magic.
Neither do I. But I can't argue with what I've experienced. Listen, what matters now is the signal. The last time we only caught a part of it. I need the rest of it. Whether you believe me or not, you want to look into this as much as I do, right?
Yes. All right.
I realize that you have trouble believing this.
That's an understatement. I can't deny that what you say resonates with me on some level I don't pretend to understand. But for all I know, I'm simply delusional.
But it's not just you. I've experienced the same thing as you. Doesn't that prove something, at least?
Maybe. On the other hand, given your appearance, and the fact that you're trying to convince me that I'm not insane, perhaps you're merely a hallucination that accompanies my delusions.
You're not having a psychotic episode, Doctor. For what it's worth, I'm a skeptic by nature. I completely understand your reluctance to believe me.
There are people caught so deep in their psychosis that they retroactively manufacture memories and beliefs that conform to the situation at hand.
Sure, but you have to stop second-guessing yourself at some point, if you want to get something done.
Yep, there's that trying to rationalize. Yeah, supernatural. People always think it's some psychosis a lot of times. It's not always psychosis. Maybe it's actually happening. I'm not saying that there isn't psychosis out there, you know. Psychoses. You get what I'm saying. Like Alan said, like there's got to be a point where you stop second guessing yourself and just start rolling with it. As much as I did like the hunting rifle, I kind of want to switch back to the carbine because it fires faster. To be honest, I kind of like it better anyway. It's just more my style until we get that assault rifle. Oh, we gotta go all the way down there? Crap. There's something up there? Oh no. Okay, never mind. It's just the light. But yeah, we're gonna use the flare gun because I've not really been using it for anything. I'm feeling comfortable with the combat with the enemies and everything anymore, so like I'm just gonna use that. This is just like one enemy, then I'll probably switch out to something else. However, I do want those equipped. Okay. I thought I got both of those guys when I shot the flare gun. Alright, whoa. Ow. Ow. This guy is pissing me off. You were definitely getting flare gunned. D-bag. Yeah, now this doesn't refill my flare gun at all. I've used quite a bit of rounds for that, so I think I'm going to switch out.
Light, am I correct? You should be able to turn on the lights and secure the area that way.
Okay. Oh.
Doctor, can you hear me? I think we're good to go.
All right, I'll start looking for the signal. Please, head back.
Okay then. He's throwing cars at me again. Awesome.
I guess they didn't like that.
No, I guess I didn't like that at all. Now that's blocking my path. I can't get back that way. You have to go up through this way. Ooh.
Damn mountain's trying to kill me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I see these things. That's enough of that. Thanks. Ooh. Ow. This is trying to possess. Oh, looks like a trailer. Jesus. Really came after me on that one. Can't pick up any of that stuff. Yeah, let's just keep it moving. Come on. Come on. I need the health. Don't break that bastard. Oh. That's why I wanted to use the carbine. It's got a higher rate of fire. Wish I could get this. I have enough though. I can take that guy down right now. Okay. No, we don't with that. Okay, I can't pick up any more players. Just open this up here. Back inside. I'm a little bit low on ammo.
It's working. Please, come up here, dear.
Working on it. Or if they're gonna try and come inside again. Or they're just gonna leave us be. I think there's some flare gun ammo down here. I'm just gonna run down here and grab that real quick. There we go. So let's head upstairs and talk to what's her name and see if we can get anything new out of that.
Find the signal?
Yes, I don't think it's quite the same thing we had the last time. Still,
That's good.
we're definitely picking it up.
Are we getting the complete signal now?
I'm afraid not. Take a look at it yourself. I'm printing out a hard copy now. I'd like to ask you a question or two before that, though, if you don't mind.
What's on your mind, Doctor?
Most people would find these events extremely disturbing, provided that they survive these creatures, that is. You seem to be quite adept at dealing with the situation. Why is that?
Yes, I was involved in... It's a complex story. I was in this small town, and a horrible thing from another dimension kidnapped my wife and manipulated me into writing this horror story that came true. I learned to fight it with light, and I managed to contain it and free my wife. But I was trapped in its world.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So, I'm used to reality working in strange or even impossible ways. And I fought these things, not exactly like this, but close enough for a good while now. Of course, I have certain advantages. Was there anything else?
What did you mean when you said you have advantages?
At the risk of sounding like a lunatic, reality is much more fluid than people think. It can be influenced.
I didn't take you for a mystic.
I'm not. I'm a writer. And under certain conditions, I can, for lack of a better word, rewrite reality. Change things.
That's absurd.
But it works.
Assuming I believe this, why don't you simply, I don't know, write yourself some superpowers?
It's not quite that simple. You need to follow certain laws of drama, I suppose. You need to think about consistency and symbolism. Often what you write isn't anywhere near as important as what you imply. There are things out there that will take advantage of your mistakes.
You really believe in this?
Don't look at me like that. You've experienced some of this yourself.
I will gladly admit that something exceedingly strange is going on. But this idea that you're somehow altering reality with your writing is ridiculous. You're essentially saying you're controlling my actions. Leaving aside the rational arguments against this, what gives you the right?
Well, it's more like having a destiny. A path you're on. You're not aware of it, but there it is. If somebody changes it, what difference does it make? It's what every writer does. If you write something that affects one of the characters, they don't really know about that.
I'm not a character. Are you saying that it's all right to take advantage of someone if they aren't aware of it?
Look, all I meant was that if you're genuinely making all your own decisions, and those decisions lead to whatever destiny you have, what practical difference does it make?
I suppose that depends on whether our destinies are determined by things like physics and probabilities, or natural reality, which is presumably neutral and impartial, or by some kind of an intelligence. If it's the latter, that intelligence makes choices based on some criteria. If we suffer as a result of those choices, there's a moral and ethical element involved, regardless of whether we're aware of its manipulations. Wouldn't you agree?
You're taking this very well. I thought you'd be hangry.
I suppose I would be if I thought you could actually do this.
She makes a super solid point.
Another printout. Another signal fragment. The message is still not complete, but it's another piece of the weapon he has built against his adversary. Mere words on a piece of paper, but in the right hands, they will hold back the darkness.
So I have a feeling we're going to get sent back a third time. Because, like you said, that wasn't even the full message. So I think if we get sent back a third time, then that will have the full message after the third time we get sent back.
The last time the man came to the drive-in, it did not end well. He hopes to avoid that fate this time. He hopes that what he has brought with him to this place is enough.
Maybe. But let's check out those other pages that we got.
After my disappearance, they thought I was dead. I might as well have been. I know it's been 2 years. I know Alice has moved on. I've tried to find a way back to her, back to my life, but escaping the dark place is almost impossible. Time does strange things here, but dreams and radio signals can pierce the veil between the worlds. I catch glimpses and echoes of the world. Sometimes I send messages out. I can only pray that they hear them.
So he was trapped, or is trapped, still in the dark
Stories
place?
come naturally to us. We can't help it. There are many different worlds, many competing realities within our heads, fueled by books, television, even barely remembered childhood tales. There's an endless supply of fictional concepts more familiar to us than anything or anyone real. We have a far greater connection to the fictional characters we know and love than the random people we pass on the street. Our destinies and inspirations are shaped by lies, myths, and fables.
That's deep. That's really deep. And actually, I feel attacked on a personal level because of that. I could say I'm more connected to video games and books and movies and stuff like that than I am with most of the time. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people. It's just, I could say that I'm a little bit more connected towards video games and stuff and fictional characters. But that's pretty nuts.
The Taken may well be the tool the darkness favors over any other. At some point, they used to be human, but whatever humanity they once had is long gone. Now they're just shells covered and filled by darkness. The Taken Mr. throws at me are more grotesque and varied than the ones I first encountered in Bright Falls. But I know how to deal with them. I'd be lying if I said they don't frighten me. But I've survived worse. I can't let them stop me. The film noir poster reminded me of Alex Casey, the detective's cool exterior never cracking even with the gun pointed in his face. In the back room, all the lights had been turned off, except for the lone spotlight which illuminated the bright red fire extinguisher on the wall.
Okay. I wonder what that has to do with it. You know.
Ugh. Serena's probably out of her mind again, but I'm gonna need that key so I can get the power back on.
She sounds like she's out of her mind. Another page.
To change the world, you must craft a blueprint for the new reality. Any work of art will do, as long as it's a genuine act of creation. That's what the energies of the dark place respond to. The results may be subtle and perplexing, or far-ranging and momentous. My area of expertise, the written word, gives much more precise results than music or interpretive dance would, for instance. But words can be extremely dangerous. What you define may become reality, but so can that which you imply, even if you don't realize you're doing so.
That's intense. Like, you could write something, and then if it's implied in the wrong way, then the darkness could twist that to its own means. That is all the time that we have for this episode. Thank you, lords and ladies, for tuning in, watching this. I'm actually liking this as it develops more. Like, at first I thought this was just going to be a very dull DLC, but it feels like they're building more on it, and more is becoming elaborated, which is actually making me enjoy this a lot more. At first, my first reaction to this was kind of dull, and I felt like it was a bit rushed, but now I feel it building up, making more, and really elaborating on the depth of the story and everything. So I'm actually enjoying it a lot more. I feel more connected to it now than I did at the beginning. So thank you, lords and ladies, for tuning into this and watching. So see you at the journey's end. Ta-ta.